Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's gone from buzzword to boardroom essential, Agentic AI for enterprise workflows. Sam, we're talking architecture, ROI, and compliance, the whole stack. How are you feeling about where Agentic AI sits right now in 2024?
It's a fascinating moment, Alex. We've moved past the chatbot phase. Everyone tried a few co-pilots, got some quick wins, and now they're asking the real question: how do we actually automate complex, multi-step business processes? That's where Agentic AI shifts from cool proof of concept to genuine competitive advantage.
Right. And the numbers back that up. McKinsey's 2024 survey shows 55% of organizations have adopted generative AI in some form. But agentic workflows, these autonomous systems that can reason, execute, and iterate, those are the primary ROI drivers now. What's the fundamental difference between an agentic system and, say, a traditional RAG chatbot?
Great question. A chatbot retrieves information and presents it to a user. An agent observes its environment, reasons about multiple action paths, executes decisions autonomously within guardrails, and then adapts based on outcomes. It's the difference between a tool that answers questions and a system that actually solves problems end to end. Agents handle ambiguity, context switches, exceptions, the messy stuff that rules-based automation can't touch.
So it's less about replacing humans and more about removing friction from human decision-making, right? I've seen that quoted from Gartner's research, the idea that agents should handle the routine 80%, freeing experts for judgment calls.
Exactly. And that's where the business case becomes concrete. A mid-market fintech we looked at was stuck. Customer onboarding took 3 to 5 days because compliance checks, document verification, risk assessment, all manual. With agentic workflows, they cut that to hours while actually improving accuracy. Forrester's data shows 30 to 40% operational cost savings within 12 months for organizations implementing this properly.
Walk us through what that actually looks like architecturally. How are enterprises building these systems? Because I imagine a single agent can only do so much.
You're spot on. Mature workflows use multi-agent orchestration. You've got an intake agent that processes requests and extracts context, a research agent that queries knowledge bases and external APIs, a decision agent that weighs options against policy and compliance rules, an action agent that executes approved decisions, and a monitoring agent that logs outcomes and flags exceptions. Each one is specialized and can be built, tested, and updated independently.
That sounds like it mirrors how a real organization works. Different teams, different expertise. How do you prevent these agents from stepping on each other's toes? I imagine data duplication and reasoning cycles could get messy fast.
That's where MCP, the Model Context Protocol, comes in. It's a shared context layer that lets agents communicate without duplicating data fetches or reasoning work. Think of it as a central nervous system for your agent network. One agent pulls data once, and other agents can reference it without redundant API calls or token waste.
Okay, so you've got the architecture, but enterprises also care deeply about compliance, especially in regulated sectors. The blog mentions EU AI Act readiness. How does that factor into agentic AI design?
It's critical, and honestly, it's a design requirement from day one, not an afterthought. The fintech case study we mentioned, customer onboarding in Europe with GDPR, PSD2, AML regulations, they couldn't just throw a rule-based system at it. Instead, they built a compliance agent that queries real-time regulatory databases, flags risks, and routes ambiguous cases to a human compliance officer. About 10% of accounts needed human review, but that's manageable because the agent handled 90% of the routine work.
So the human-in-the-loop element isn't a bug, it's a feature, especially for compliance?
Absolutely. Under EU AI Act and similar regulations, you need explainability and human oversight for high-risk decisions. An agentic system that flags exceptions and sends them to a qualified human actually strengthens your compliance posture. It's faster than pure manual review, but it doesn't pretend to replace human judgment where it matters.
Let's talk about observability, because I know that's a huge part of the architecture story. If you've got multiple agents making decisions autonomously, how do you even know what's happening?
You build observability in from the start. LLM observability tools let you trace every decision, every API call, every reasoning step. You can see which agent handled which part of a workflow, why it took certain actions, where it encountered ambiguity, and escalated. That's not just for compliance audits. It's essential for debugging and continuous improvement. If an agent is making decisions you don't like, you can pinpoint exactly why and retrain or adjust guardrails.
And I imagine that data is also how you measure ROI, right? You're tracking time saved, accuracy improvements, cost per transaction.
Exactly. That's where an ROI framework comes in. You define metrics up front: processing time before and after, cost per transaction, accuracy rates, human escalation rates, time freed up for subject matter experts. The fintech case, 5 days to 4 hours on loan underwriting, that's a measurable, auditable improvement. And when you multiply that across thousands of transactions, the business case becomes undeniable.
So before you scale, you need an AI lead architecture in place. What does that actually mean? Who's responsible for it?
It means you have someone, or ideally a small team, who owns the overall system design before engineers start building. They define which workflows are candidates for agentic automation, what the multi-agent architecture looks like, where humans stay in the loop, how observability flows, what compliance requirements apply. It's architectural thinking, not just engineering. Without it, you end up with point solutions that don't talk to each other, compliance blind spots, and scaling nightmares.
So the lesson here is, don't just build, design first. And when you do build, you're looking at a system that handles routine work at scale, keeps humans in the loop for judgment calls, and gives you full visibility into what's happening.
That's the sweet spot. Agentic AI isn't about replacing your workforce or removing human judgment. It's about amplifying human expertise by letting agents handle the repetitive, predictable parts. Your compliance officer reviews flagged accounts instead of processing routine ones. Your financial analyst focuses on strategic decisions instead of data gathering. You get speed, cost savings, and better decisions because experts have time to actually think.
For our listeners who want to dive deeper into the architecture patterns, ROI frameworks, and compliance strategies, including more on that fintech case study and how to structure multi-agent orchestration, head over to etherlink.ai and find the full article. It's packed with practical patterns you can adapt to your own workflows. Sam, thanks for breaking this down.
Great conversation, Alex. The key takeaway is that agentic AI is moving from experimental to essential in 2024 and 2025. If your organization hasn't started thinking about how autonomous agents can improve your workflows, now's the time. And don't skip the architecture and compliance work. That's where most projects stumble.
Thanks for tuning in to EtherLink AI Insights. We'll be back next time with more on AI architecture, implementation, and business impact. Until then, keep building intelligently.